daily message. I'm just waiting for some people to join in, just to get in here, get present. I feel like I rush myself in. I don't function very well early. I should be on YouTube and Facebook. I'm not sure why, but it's not really going anywhere, is what I've noticed. So I don't know if there's something I'm missing in using the broadcasting system, but something is going on. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning. So I'm just letting people join in to get started. Sorry, I got to get another light on here. As I was waiting to come in, I start chuckling. I'm like, my memory of today was a memory for my mother's birthday, but it's not really her birthday today. Her birthday is tomorrow. It's my son-in-law's birthday today. So Benjamin Butcher, if you're watching this, happy birthday. This is a weekend of birthdays for us and our family. It's my son-in-law's today, my mother's tomorrow, my partner's on Sunday. But there's a lot of energy happening right now. Good morning, Desiree. So, Brianna, good morning. Oh, there you are. There's Angela. Oh, wait now, Angela. I got to show you. My yearly picture that I post for myself and for my mother on her birthday is always this. This is us. This is us when I was 24 and she would have been 44. Yeah, because we are 20 years apart. So this was us. It was the picture that I keep posting for our birthday all the time. But, right, I know. That was back when I had the very first magic scissors in Buckins, Newfoundland. So I had 2 magic scissors salons, one that her and I had in Slave Lake, and the one that I had in Buckins. And 44, yeah, you were 44. That was angel numbers. I was actually pregnant. So I was pregnant with my daughter at the time, and she was I wasn't far along when that picture, I think, was first taken. And so my daughter will be 25 in March as well. And yeah, it's so crazy. My daughter will be 25. I'll be 50. Like, it's so crazy how time flies by. Good morning, Charlotte. Aw. Hold on. That's not a Charlotte. That's not the Charlotte I thought I was getting. That's the same. Oh God, here we go again. So yeah, we'll still say morning to that Charlotte, because for some reason I've become very popular. I've become very popular in being hold on, everybody. I'm just trying to get. Let's spot out Charlotte here because I can't see her in the messages. Good morning, Dolly. This is weird. Whatever this is that's got in has been able to hide itself in the messages. So I got to hold on. Give me a second. We got to click. Don't anybody answer the message that's being added onto your page. It is, I'm like, I must be. Good morning. I must be very popular because, it keeps making its way in. Yeah, it's there, Darlene. I can't catch it. They figured out how to, they figured out how to hide themselves somehow in the comments. And I can't fucking get to it. So anybody can start reporting it. Please report it. They've got themselves hidden in behind, and I can't see it. However they're doing it, I can see it on the computer. It's not coming up so that I can delete them out. So please don't answer it, and please figure out if you can all see how to get this out. I would very much appreciate it. Like if you can see it, if you can start reporting it, if you can, any way you can block it, because it's not letting me in. They've made themselves invisible to me. Yeah. Yeah. They've made themselves invisible to me so that I can't get it. Hold on. I got one other way to do it. Give me a second, everybody. I'm just trying to figure out how to save this morning. This is the beginning of a whole morning of this. Um, I was up at 2 o'clock this morning catching these in my page. So they're trying to outsmart us because they know that I catch it as soon as it comes in. It's not on my page. I'm going to say fucking Facebook for not helping us. My friend Suzanne Segemeister has somebody with a whole identity of her, and Facebook just keeps sending us back messages that these people they are complying with Facebook standards. It's amazing. An everyday person can be banned and deleted from Facebook, but we can't get rid of these people. So I'm sorry, guys. Can't see it. And I don't know if she's sending it as if they're sending it as messages, or can someone tell me if we're still getting them? Yeah, don't answer them. You can't see it anymore? Okay, good, Michelle. Um, Lisa may have gotten it. She's the only other person that can get it in and get it out as well. So good morning, everybody. Welcome. Ignore it if it comes up again. Please do not click on them at all, ever. They're not just on my page. They are on everybody's page. It's become like it's become a hindrance to every one of us who are trying to do good work, which also goes with some of the message of today. So I still haven't even got our card out for today. I do have it up on the screen. So let me move forward. Let me start the day right. So this is the desired reflection. This is the Evangeline, and she's one absolutely a beautiful, beautiful cards. And when I woke this morning, and this has been happening all week, there's a really strong energy around us today. And it really feels like I wanted to be so angry, even from the time I woke up this morning. But I'm going to bring the attention to what she's holding in her hand, which is a light. And as you can see, she is holding an absolutely, you know, she's holding herself in such an absolute beautiful way. She's looking over her shoulder. She's not looking back. She's just looking with a, I'm just contemplating. I'm not going forward. I'm not going back, but I'm holding my light. I'm holding myself. And so if you look down at the beautiful flowers, you see all the sunflowers, and you see some are open and blossom, and they're very close to the ground. And it's like a daisy type of thing, but a sunflower. And so they're very close to the ground. They are growing, they're evolving, but sometimes we blossom too early. Sometimes we try to grow up too fast. Sometimes we try to be too much too quickly. And the after effects of that has such an impact on us. And and so and so when we get And when we get to that point, because we all want something so bad, we all want to exist in a world so bad. We want to be seen, we want to be remembered, and whoops. And so that sense of our, like, our, what we call our childhood memories, that sometimes don't feel so great to us, is that you have to remember, most of life you were looking at through the eyes of a child, and you're not a child anymore, you're a grown adult. So when you look through the eyes of anyone, look through the eyes of the angelic, through spirit, through who, to look into the eyes of love is where we're looking, and to observe life through the eyes of love, having loving compassion for where each and every person were. Because what do we want reflecting out? I know I don't want my reflection to be a reflection of an angry person. And I don't want that to be how I live my life. And she's standing amongst those flowers. And some she's probably stepping on. And she's probably stepping on some of those flowers. Yeah, I like her too. She's such a beautiful card. And if you look really close and you look in the sky, you can see the angel. See the angel up there? So the skies are very cloudy. So you can look into the day as being a cloudy day, or you can find the light in the day. Find the bright spot. Find the one little essence. Every moment is an opportunity. And you have every moment an opportunity to become that desired reflection. So back to the child, is that children would have a moment. So through the eyes of a child, you may have had, no doubt, we've all had experiences that didn't align to get to what we wanted our lives to be. But when you look through the eyes of a child, if a child falls and they hit their head, or they cry, and then they get up and they shake it off and they go again. And they just do. There is no limiting belief around what they can't do or can't be. They also pretend they're superheroes. They watch a cartoon, and then they put the cloaks around their neck, and they start to become superhero. And then they believe they can fly. So they get up on the back of the couch and they jump off the back of the couch, and they whoof, and they fly, and they find out they can't fly, but someone says, well, you can't fly, stop trying to fly. But they did fly for a period of time. There was a brief moment. So for a brief moment in time, they did fly. The end result wasn't exactly what they had thought it would be, because the movie they had watched, the cartoon they had watched, just told them a lie, right? And so there was that reality that then hit them. So you get hit with the reality, well, all of that's not true. So that's all of life, is that, well, there's a lot of secrets, there's a lot of things, but when we look at life through the eyes of an adult, you can look back and go, well, all the people you're still mad at are not really that person who they were back then. And so reality is, look to the person they are today, and you see who they are today. And when you look into their eyes, into those eyes, you now see that person. So why are you having a relationship with the person of the past? Why is that the person where you're putting all of your energy and all of that? Because that's the last thing that you want people to do to you, is to be the reflection, to see you as who you used to be. And, we get so frustrated with that, and we get so angry at that. So for a brief moment in time, I may have been that. For a brief moment in time, I may have had an angry behavior. I may have did this. I may have been there. But in the big scheme of things, it was such a brief moment in time, even if it was a year, even if it was like, and I was the most miserable pregnant woman ever. But it was, and I think back, say, oh God, how could I be that way, and da da da. But that was a moment. And so does those brief moments in time define our lives? Do we let them define our lives? Do we allow it to limit us? Do we allow it to stop us? Do we allow it to keep us in a sense of being offended by the rest of the world, and by being offended by having mommy issues, daddy issues, all of those things our whole life? Or do we look at ourselves and say, I have an issue with me. I am the issue, and I want the world to keep accommodating and nurturing my issues. So I want the world to be sensitive to me. I want the world to be kinder to me. I want the world to do this. Well, what the hell are we doing? What are we doing? Right? And so it's about you starting to learn that the world is not here to accommodate or to do all of those things. You have to be the reflection of you today. And so when we start to move and start to look, your desired reflection is often a part of the persona, the identity, the story, the reality that you're creating to get your wants met. Those wants of the reflection of that you're still looking in the past, that you're still seeing from the past. That trigger response that we have is that, oh, because, I went through this as a child, and we're not devaluing what we went through as a child. We're saying we can't deal with it if we don't know what the original is anymore, because we have clusterfucked it into being a part of everything. We've clustered it all together. And I can tell you how much I've seen the effects of this. I literally seen last night, and I'm going to say the name, and I don't usually say the name because I wasn't bothered by this. It was a great learning experience for me. And it came from something that I seen of Marianne Williamson. And she was on an interview, and she said she was. Yes, Pam, that's you're not the only person. That's everybody right now. We can't find it. We can't get it. It's like, don't answer it. She's not in Beaumont. She's not anywhere. That's all made up. Don't answer it. Don't answer it. And so I was watching this thing, and it was Marianne Williamson, and she said, I was on Fox News, and it was sad that the conservative people were nicer to me than my own liberal people. Like, and I'm very liberal. And I'm like, and I thought about that for a moment, and I thought, well, isn't that kind of clustering people together? Before you knew who anybody was, or before we started to divide people, everybody that came to see you were just people. And they were all just people. And once you made up a story, once everybody started to create a story about everybody being a conservative were horrible people, or everybody being a liberal were horrible people, then that was the reflection, and you reflected it into the eyes of everybody. But in the meantime, all throughout your career, many conservatives showed up and read your books and loved you and hugged you and supported you, and they were there for you. And they still are, because they're hoping that someday we all wake up to see that there is an asshole in every bunch. Every culture has assholes. Every person, everybody on earth will have a family that has an asshole. They'll have one person that can make the whole family look bad if you let that person be the one who defines you. If you let that person be the person that then allows the rest of the world to shame you. If you walk in shame because you have that one person, if you walk in shame because there's that one piece of a reflection, that's not a reflection on you. That's a reflection on the person and their behaviors. And that doesn't reflect everybody. And we've clumped it together. And we've done that with ourselves. We've done that in our own stories, is that we take one story and we put all onto it, and we turn it into the monster, we turn it into the energy, we turn it into our why, we turn it into our drive, our desire, our passionate desire to get our wants met. That's the unhealthy part of ego. That is the mask, the personas that we put on and that we wear. So it's that whole sense of, well, I'm innocent. I don't know why everybody hates me. I don't know why everybody's against me. I don't know why everybody's picking on me. That's what we do. And we become that. And so when you look at that sense of, what are you reflecting? And what are you reflecting back at yourself? And why are you taking it so personal that there's one asshole in the bunch, right? You just kind of start to know that one doesn't make up for all, and one is not a reflection of all. And that the reason why people have some of the views they have is because it's in alignment to the saving grace of their lives, including their jobs, their who they are, because they are holding strong to the identity that they know to be true to them. It's the same thing as if I had to take the one person who started to attack me about not being, a true follower of God, or if I had to take all Christians and say all Christians are this way, or all people that go to church this way, what does that say about me? And that's what this Evangeline is showing us, is that if you want to rise up, If you want to go towards the sun and you can see are they shrinking down? Are those flowers shrinking down? Are they going further down or are they coming up? Can they still come up in the dark when there's cloudy? Yes, because there's a light and they're all still trying to come towards light. Some are shrinking, some are rising up, some are closing because they are believing a narrative. And when you believe a narrative that you start to tell yourself and you believe your own narrative, you will convince yourself that it is real and you will live it to be real and you'll create it to be real. And then you'll try to tell everybody else that it is real because it is serving a need. And why it was serving the need back then for even Mary Ann is because of her belief system in the side that she was supporting. But in the meantime, her support came from everybody. So why not just say that we are all people? We are people, not to have categories, not to have enough of anything to be enough in this world. That we are all just people, and amongst people there is an asshole. Amongst people, there is not nice people. Amongst people, there is people who are still struggling. Amongst people, there are people who just don't get it yet. Amongst people, right? And that's the desired reflection. And so when she's looking, she don't want to be, it's like her dress is bigger than her sometimes. Is she wearing the dress or is the dress wearing her? Is your story wearing you or are you wearing your story? Are you wearing your dress or is your dress wearing you? Is your clothes wearing you? Is your story? Does it weigh down on you? Does it have so much ownership on you that you can no longer see you? That you truly believe the mask that you're wearing because you have internalized it so much and you've created a monster out of the whole world. You've made everything be that way. And that's the difference. It is time for us to start looking up. It is time for us to start looking beyond. It is time for us to start looking everything that we are trying to drive and push with such conviction for this to nurture these wounds, these unseen wounds, these childhood wounds, these stories that we have told ourselves that we are not 5, we are not 7, we are not even 10. We are grown ass adults. And as grown as adults, we got to start living our lives through the eyes of grown as adults. And when you can look at somebody who has pushed an agenda and their whole need to push that agenda was ultimately all about the money that they were going to make. So they built a fear story around getting people to support the things that they need so that they could meet the agenda to be the change in the world that they want the credit for. And that's not where my life leads. And so being able to step back from all of that, to be able to say, you know what? I would love for people to purchase that book. I would love for people to watch these lives, but I'm not going to do it at a cost of somebody else. And so when you look at that, when you choose the middle road, and I wrote a big message to Mariana last night, but Instagram wouldn't let me post it. And it was one of love. And I'm like, I never left supporting you. And I walk the middle road, but I have a lot of friends on either side. But you have to always remember that your one word of judgment may be the word that is the straw that breaks the camel's back. That person that the industry is now being shut down, their jobs are being gone, they're losing their homes, they can't feed their children, they can't do all those things. They can no longer support the funding that they gave out in supporting in donations and volunteering. And they can't support that because they can't support their lives. And then you nail that final nail in, or you put that one word in there that then breaks the straw of the camel's back, and then they're not here no more. But how do you know? Because you're so busy on the agenda that you don't look around. And we have to be willing to look at the consequences of us getting what we want. There is a consequence of that. And so that desired reflection of how awful you create the world to be, or you create one side or the other to be, and you push that agenda. Well, the after effects of that, you're wearing that on your heart, and that's yours to wear. And that's the truth. So heal it now, catch it now while we can, right? Catch yourself in those conversations. Catch yourself with that angry conversation, that judgmental conversation. and say, where did I start to learn this? And what is this really serving? And how is this really serving me? And bring that home. It is time for us to spiritually, emotionally grow up and to be very aware of what agendas we're pushing, what our motives are. And I keep saying this and I'll say it over and over and over again. I'd rather be the man on the cross than the people who put him there. And so if I can be inspired to be any, I'd rather be the man on the cross than the people throwing the rocks at him or the people that are cheering on that he's on that cross or the ones that put him there. And if there's anybody that I can be, I'd rather be that person because I'd rather never lose the kindness, the truth, the integrity, the dignity to be so judgmental, to want something so bad, to want to be rich, to want to get that to be the hero, to be that claim to fame, that it does that. It is time for us to rise up, to open, to allow ourselves to know that transformation is not about us all being identical. It is not about shaming one or the other. Shaming is causing more issue. So we're trying to solve a problem with a problem. We're trying to give revenge and payback. You're going to pay for this, and you're responsible for this. What are we doing? The world has become almost hateful in so many ways that it's hard to see the beauty throughout. And that the most hateful things are the things that people mostly follow. And that's a sad day. That's a sad day. And it all comes because we got something back here in the past that we are still wanting to be the agenda to push us forward. Who are we today? Who are we today? Who do you want to be today? And so make that desired reflection one of love. Start looking up. Start looking in to the eyes of those that no matter what sat by our side, no matter what didn't judge us. Look there. That's the best place for us to start. Because I can tell you, it's tiring. I'm a channel. I'm a mystic. I live out there and I'm battling through this energy. And I've been battling through this for ever since the past, not even when we first started with the pandemic, prior to that. And I always, if the world could see what I could see, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing. Because we believe we have this, and not we as in all of you, like just we as a culture, as a world, we have this sense of being somebody like a superior in one way or the other. Like there's something like, I need to be validated. I need to be seen. And it's being pushed upon us. We are being pushed to not to change your thoughts because you have a choice. It's because I'm going to fear you that you are going to be the ones that will not be allowed to be a part of anything. You will lose your job, you will be fired, you'll be this, you'll be that. You'll be all of this if you don't do this. Families ban you, families abolish you for having a voice, for speaking out, for standing up, for being the one person to say, we have to do something to stop this. I'm not saying that I want the world to pay for what happened. I'm saying that we need to stop this, that this is not okay. Right? And those are things that we seriously have to look at because they are serious truths. And those serious truths are coming even out of the mouths of the healers, out of the influencers of this world. That I thought these people were bad people, but they were so nice to me. But what does that tell you? That you told yourself a narrative and a story and you let it to be true and you believed it to be true because one or a little group of assholes with a whole different agenda, assholes can hide everywhere. Right? And so instead of going to your darkness in judging people, instead of assuming everybody is one way or the other, or that they're all the same because they have a similar, belief in some ways, go to the light. How would it feel to have that done to you, right? And so my desired reflections, how I want people to treat me is how I'm going to treat people. How I want people to speak of me, that's how I'm going to speak of people. And I'm not going to be so quick to be on that judgy train, that criticizing, that canceling people out, deleting them, those type of things. That's not healthy. That's not healthy. You have a right to what you accept and what you don't accept, and that's the blessing, right? That's the blessing. But you also have to accept that not everybody is going to agree with you, like you, be in support of you, and not everybody's going to like your plan. And that's the truth. Yeah. I'm just looking back now. We're going to validate. You love that cat? I love that cat too, but she's being a pain. I don't know where she just went. Hold on. She wants to get up on my desk. Come here. Nope. This is her. This is Princess Leia. And this is where she wants to get. Okay, you got to turn around. You have to turn around. You have to look this way. There. So, we're going to validate these cards. Right? Exactly, friends. Move a stone in the water. Right? Move a stone in the water and you change a lot. Exactly. Yes, friends, I do have my letter being wrote up because Instagram wouldn't accept, and it's an absolute loving letter. It's a loving and supportive letter. It's not a judgment letter. It's a loving and supportive letter. If you throw mud, you lose ground. Yeah, it's right. It's so true. Good morning, Cynthia. Good morning, everyone who's joining in. The boss has arrived. That's exactly right. Exactly, Kelly. People treat you how you treat people. Treat you how you treat them. But there's some opposite truth to that, because of who I am, and because of what I do, I've been treated some very unkind ways, and I do take it as an opportunity to think, well, sometimes I treat myself that way, right? Sometimes I treat myself that way. Sometimes I'm not kind to myself, and if I'm not if I'm hurt by a stranger judging me, why am I judging myself? And I've done a lot of work around that and choosing that. My mug says this morning, believe that anything is possible, including that we become dignified in humanity, because we truly need to become dignified. We can't be 5-year-olds running around trying to rule this world. I said it's kind of like that Revenge of the Nerds type of movie. It's all of a sudden, it's like everything that was done to me as a kid, everybody in the world is going to be a reflection of that, and everybody's going to pay for that. And that's a very unhealthy way. So we need to emotionally grow up, emotionally mature and spiritually mature. Those are two names that I have claimed, that I have done a claim into my programs, into my books. A big part is that we have not emotionally matured. We have gotten stuck. 1111, yay! So we're going to validate this. And Miss Cynthia Fontaine, I have the deck for you. They just came yesterday. I'm going to message you after and get your email address or your mailing address, and I'm going to send them to you. So these are my beta decks of Oracle cards, and they're not out yet, but there's a few of my medium friends, a few readers and stuff that are taking these cards and they're trying them out and test them out, feeling the energy of them until they're ready to be pre-sold. Oh, well, we can't make this up. So, this is the card that came out to validate that message. This card is actually, her name is Mavis. And let's find Mavis. I'm excited for you to have them. I can tell you, they're like having teenagers in your house. They have attitude. They have attitude, these cards. And so this is our validation card. I'll look at my time. I have a client in a few moments. So this is the validation card. This is the master manipulator, Mavis. And I remember mom always saying to me, you got your head in the clouds. Get your head out of the clouds. You got your head in the clouds. Get your head out of the clouds. And and so a hurt heart hurts others. And so a hurt heart sometimes wants revenge. But sometimes what we don't realize is that, is it truly about is it truly about the big green giant that's in there? Or is it about the little birds? Right? Is it about the little yellow birds? Are the little yellow birds calling Mavis home to stop being the manipulator of her own story into convincing herself so we can be our own master manipulators? Yes, Cynthia, I get that. Oh, I got yours too, Lisa. I'm talking to you later. Yeah, I got yours too. Don't worry. I got 4 decks down there to go out. So, yeah. What about me? I got yours. Don't worry. And so so if you look at her, that volcano, when you let your head erupt, when you get so in your head that you become the storm, the eruption, you become explosive. When we become explosive, we can become dangerous. And I always think back to the volcanoes I think back even to the volcanoes of Hawaii, and people, like, oh, those volcanoes are the problem. Those volcanoes are the problem. I'm like, really? No, it's the fact that you had a desire to build on the land that's right next to the volcanoes. And so the volcanoes is not the problem. You're just in the way. You're just in the way of what she has to do naturally, of just what is a natural process. But you wanted to believe so that you could so that you could live there, that wasn't going to happen in your time, that those type of things don't happen. So the yellow birds are really truly appearing as a reminder to her as she's blowing off smoke, as she's blowing off steam, that it's better to let the steam go. It's better to release than to suppress, that it's okay to have a heart, her heart. It's okay to let her heart out. It's okay to unlock and to open up and speak a truth, to know that you can have a voice to talk. It is not okay to become destructive. And so what's in the way is actually the houses are in the way of what the volcano has to do. Right. And that's when you change your story, when you can change your view. And so if you can be not in the way, and so she's in the way of her own self sometimes. She's in the way of letting go. She's got nothing else around her to keep her from being able to be able to speak her truth, to walk herself, but she is stuck. She is stuck. She is standing there. She's holding the front of her heart and the back of her heart, because our heart has 2 stories, right? It has a front, it has a back. It has the part that we show the world. It has the part that we show the world, and it has the part that we hide from the world. And I remember one time my dear friend, Althea Gray, said to me, she's my dear friend, Althea Gray, who's a healer and a really respected member of this healing world. She said to me one time, she said, Corey, you have to let yourself be everything of who you are, because you're not the person that the world sees is not who you are behind the scenes. And not that you're hiding yourself. You are the saddest human being I have ever met. And that was her story to me. I have never met anybody so sad as you. You carry a deep-seated sadness, and you don't fool the world. You are manipulating yourself because you're holding on to that sadness. Because that sadness, you feel it's okay for you to carry it, because you'd rather carry the pain than to let anyone else ever have to feel it. So you take on the pain of the world, and you carry the pain of the world. And then you take the breath, you put your shit together, and you show up in the world. Well, you need to show up for you now. and you now need to live for you. And that was a changing moment in my life. That was the little birdie that flew in to remind me that I was not responsible to carry the weight of the world. And that sometimes everything that needed to come out with love because it was about me setting myself free, it wasn't when I found a voice of love instead of a voice of anger, was that I knew I could release it in such a way that it could be new ground, that it could create new ground, that I could walk new ground, that I could create a new path. And so when I could do that, I knew that I was doing it in a place where nothing else was in the way. I wasn't letting my hot lava lay onto somebody else and burn somebody else and to hurt somebody else. It was hurting me and it was causing me harm. So when I wrote this, it wasn't about attacking someone else. It was about having enough love to see both sides of our story and to speak a truth about how we all carry this burning desire inside of us. And everything that we hide and we suppress becomes an attitude that becomes a reflection upon the world. And sometimes that becomes a melting pot when everybody's suppression, everybody's sense of hurt starts to blend together. And when we can transmute it and we can transmute that energy, we can transmute our messages to a voice of love. And that's what I did with More Than Existing. And that's what I've done with all other books that I have written. So it's like she doesn't have to carry the weight of the world, and she can bring her hearts together, and she doesn't have to divide, to separate herself, that there's a balance in between. There's a balance in between of knowing when. And so when you come back to here in this very present moment, when you run out of gas, when you can lose all the steam, then you can go, okay, let's think about this. Let's think about this. What damage have I caused? What am I doing? Why am I behaving this way? What do I need to change in me? And those three little birds are the Trinity. Those three little birds are the power that is within us that can bring about the change that we want to be able to see, which is not about people becoming, the world becoming different. It's about us being able to see the world differently. And that's the difference. So, thank you. Right? I know. I love, love, love this card. And so the artist is Amelia Richard. She took my sketches, and my sketches was built like a tree. And the same thing, I didn't have a head on it because I didn't want to attach a face to it, because it's not a face. It's not a face. It's an energy, right? It's not the face it's not a face. And so when you take off the face, when you're away from the world, when you're away from everybody, when you peel it all back, that's when your truth really shows to you. And when you can see all of that truth in you, it's amazing. So, thank you all. Right? We're better than we think we are. You'll have to go back and watch it, Valerie. Yes, I love this card too. I love this card. And when this card was first created, she's like, oh, I don't, are you sure you like this? And I'm like, I love this card. And the birds, those three birds, were added right before we sent them to be printed. I messaged and I said, Amelia, I know I might be a pain in the ass, but the card needs the card needs three yellow birds. It needs three yellow birds, because I'm not the same person of when this card was created. I'm now living more as the yellow birds. It is called freedom. It's called liberation, setting ourselves free of the pain and the misery that we allow ourselves to sit in, so that we don't become the master manipulator of our own lives. We become the person who is mastering the ability to be able to live in a beautiful human world. So, thank you all for being with me. I love you all. I do have to go. I have a client in like 5 minutes. I will see you all tomorrow morning. Um, I'm not going to guarantee it'll be this early. I'm in this early so I can fit it in. And I also, so that my Newfoundland family who've been watching faithfully through this, through these 45 cards, so that they can also be here to watch. So I love you all. And to Betty Thorne, my stepmother, I love you too. You and Mom are in here. Love you, love you. And if Dad's with you, I love you too. Mwah. Bye-bye.